stone unturned, perfect with no flaws at all, are the laws of Allah. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, all praise is due to Allah. We ask Allah to exalt the mention and grant peace to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to his companions and all those who follow them on their path of righteousness until the end of time. Brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to a new episode on the topic of marriage. And by Allah's grace, we were able to cover many different issues, and perhaps it is the time to deal with something that is prevalent in the Muslim homes, which is that of domestic issues between the husband and the wife, between the parents and the children, the siblings amongst themselves, and things pertaining to that. So why are there problems? If people follow the Quran and the Sunnah, Muslims supposed to follow the Quran and Sunnah, why are there still problems at home? Is it normal or is it abnormal?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. I believe, through my personal experience, and I don't know if the brothers share that with me, that the biggest problem that ignites trouble and stress in the Muslim houses, and I believe in all houses, not necessarily Muslim, the biggest generator of problems is the lack of communication. It's an issue of communication. They are unable to speak the same language, and they're unable to address each other's problems and shortcomings and rights and responsibilities. So I believe if we were to discuss these things, we would find that our homes have these problems, or some of them. And if we were to discuss the things that increase the love, we would find that we are missing a great deal of that. So it's up to you which you want us to begin to talk about.
I would like here to add.
Yes.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahu man ittaba'a hudahu ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. The marriage, when two different persons come together, the most complex being you deal with is a human being. Very complicated, very complex. Deal with person who has emotions, has feelings, so you don't know him, or you don't know her. So that's why you'll find if you plot the graph of the marriage, for the first year there are ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And then a time will come when they will be steadiness. Because these ups and downs, they are discovering and knowing each other.
How long does that take?
It depends. It depends. But this is a natural. It happens because you are trying to understand each other, because marriage is not honey and milk. It's life. So you are, because you will be yourself after 1 month, or maybe less than that. And she is going to be herself. So now knowing each other, that's why it's very important for both the husband and wife to study his partner. This is very important, that a wife knows her husband, even without speaking. He knows what he wants. He knows what upsets. Like the Prophet ﷺ. He knows when Aisha is happy, and he knows when she is upset. This is very important, that you know your partner. So these ups and downs, and that's why you find many of the marriages, they fail in this initial phase. Because he is inexperienced, the man, for example, especially the young ones who are not matured and they didn't get the right guidance.
Or training.
That's why it's a good idea that if they should go through a crash course before the marriage, and they should be certified, workshops before the marriage. So they should know what awaits along the line. It is not just, typical.
Isn't that a little complicated, though, that people would have to go through a workshop or get certificates otherwise?
Because we need to educate them. In the past, the family educate.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the subhanallah, before Islam, an Arab lady on the night of the wedding was telling her daughter, listen, my daughter, you are leaving the house that you grow up in, and you are going to sit with a man, you will live with a man who doesn't know you. And she gave her beautiful tips that he should not smell bad smell or see something that bothers. Make his house his comfort zone, make it paradise on earth. This is a woman before Islam was giving these precious tips to her daughter. So in the past, the family, they educate. The mother talks to her daughter, telling her this is life. And the father tells his son, son, this is life, it's like this. And no family will be free from having this marital upset. No one.
Do we find that there's a lot of lectures about marriage and workshops and all of these things? Even when you announce that there's an upcoming event on marriage, people are not again, right? So maybe all these workshops are happening yet we're still having the problems. So something's missing.
Can I? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I think, for example, in some countries, alhamdulillah, which is a good initiative, you will not, the wedlock will not be signed, for example, until you get a certificate that you don't have HIV. So this can be linked with that. You will not, the wedlock will not be signed until you attend such courses and that you are certified. And I mentioned that no house will be free from such marital problems. And we have the Prophet ﷺ.
Nonsense.
Okay? He had problems with his wife, but we should learn how the Prophet ﷺ handled such problems, and this maybe come along, inshallah.
Sheikh,
Let's let Abdur Raheem go.
I wanted to pick up, Sheikh, on something you began by saying, which I agree with what you're saying, but it opens a door to something that personally I think is very dangerous, and I always warn everybody against. So what I agree with is that, yes, the husband and the wife should try to understand. It's all to do with communication. You introduced the subject of communication. It's very important, the husband and the wife, to understand each other and to learn about each other's likes and dislikes. But one piece of advice I give to every married couple whenever I can, I said, don't expect your husband to read your mind. And I say to the same one, don't expect, your wife to read your mind, because this is actually a big deception people have. If he loves me, he should know how I feel. If she loves me, she should know how I feel. And this is the door for shaitan. Then before you know it, he doesn't love me, he doesn't know, he doesn't this. And this is, in fact, this is one of the first things I told my wife when I got married to her. I can't read your mind. I am not a mind reader. If there's something wrong, if there's a problem, if you need something, I said, you got to tell me. Because I knew this from my life before I was Muslim. This is the biggest problem, because myself, I had this problem. If she loves me, and her camel loves my camel, and her she camel, that's how you think. The love is so much, you should know how I feel.
Taking things for granted.
Yeah, but no, it's just you think because a person loves you, the intensity of the love will make the person you should understand, but often you don't.
Every man would love this. Wife, please tell me what you would like from the store, and I'll get it. But she's not like that. She's like, you should, well, I don't want this, I don't want that. You decide. Her love is seeing, I actually have found that you attempting to read her mind, she interprets that as love. You try. Do you see
I didn't say that's not a problem. I said that's good that they should try to develop that relationship, but
just take it like a puzzle.
I don't know if I understand this correctly. So, he says something that has to do with tomatoes, and then you stand it down tomato paste or tomato sauce, and that you figure it out and say, honey, how?
She says, I don't want that. You're like, let me think. Okay, I think you're gonna like this. Watch, I'm gonna get it for you.
And what if she doesn't?
And if she doesn't, then it's like you put another quarter in and you say, let's play again.
I wish it was a quarter.
If we're talking about serious problems in marriages.
We're talking about now.
We're not talking about groceries here. Let's talk about serious problems in marriage. Say someone in the marriage is upset about something. A bit more profound than just whether it's tomato sauce or not. Yeah, because we're talking about marriages breaking up, argument. We're talking about something a little bit more profound than, do I like this grocery or not grocery? So what I'm talking about is someone who, something's upset them. And sometimes it might start off something small, but it's and that festers and festers and festers. And it's like, why doesn't she know I'm upset? She needs to know I'm upset. That's what you're thinking in your head, but you don't communicate it to her. You just sit there being upset. And you know, I mean, a week later, you're really, really, really upset. And this just explodes into some, and this is what I'm talking about. This is why you need to say to the person, I'm upset about this and I'm upset about that.
I believe in issues of communication. There is this famous story where a Shabi, may Allah have mercy on him, went to his friend Abu Shareef al-Qadi, who was one of the scholars and a judge at the time of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. And he said, how are things? And he said, that things are fine. No, say, how is your family? Meaning, how's your wife? So he said, it's strange you should ask. Shabi, I've been married for 20 years. And on my wedding night, I came and I looked at my wife and she was astonishingly beautiful. And mashallah, she came from a good family. So I thought the minute I laid eyes on her that I should be grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal. So I made wudu and I started to pray 2 rak'ahs in gratitude to Allah. And I was praying and she came and stood behind me and prayed jama'ah with me. And when I finished, I looked at her and she said that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. And she started a khutbah. And she said, I come from a reputable tribe. And in my tribe, there are men who are suitable to me more than you. And you come from a reputable tribe, and in your tribe, there are women who are more deserving of you than me. And she started to ask him questions. And among these questions, he said, so that we could have a good marriage, I'd like you to tell me what you like and what you dislike. He said that when she said this to me, she forced me to go for another khutbah.
We will hear that inshallah after the break. We'll be right back, don't you go anywhere.
A way of life, a way of life.
Tawheed is the basis of Islam, submission to God. Character is shaped by faith. Belief in God and righteous conduct can never be separated. Learn how Tawheed builds character with me, Yahya Ibrahim, only on Peace TV.
Visualize the character which uproots darkness and stands firm against every injustice. Join Yahya Ibrahim in Tawheed Builds Character every Tuesday at 4 p.m. and repeat telecast at 1:30 a.m. Saudi Arabia on Peace TV.
Most countries of the world ban bullying. They fight it in their schools and universities. A lot of us are being bullied differently every single day. Some come up to us and say, do this, while others say, don't you dare. Some say this is halal, while others say, nope, this is haram. Are you confused? Do you feel lost? Join me in Umdat Al Ahkam, where with the grace of Allah, we will learn the proper knowledge from the Quran and from the Sunnah, which would help stop this kind of bullying.
Join Assim Al Hakeem in Umdatul Ahkam next on Peace TV.
A way of life, a way of life.
And we're back. And so you were saying he gave a khutbah now. I'm interested to hear that.
It was his turn now, because he said that she forced me to do it. Yani, it's my wedding night, and she's the one who's asking this wise question.
MashaAllah.
So I made another khutbah and I said, by Allah, if what you are saying is coming from the heart, then by Allah, you're a wise woman. But if you're just doing it to show off, then it would be a curse on you. Here is what I like, and here are the things that I do not like. And he listed the things that he likes and dislikes. Then she said, okay, now how do you feel about your in-laws? Meaning her family. He said, I do not want my in-laws to feel bored of me, meaning that I don't want to go there every day, but occasionally, once a week is okay for me.
That's a nice way to put it.
Then she said, okay, tell me about your neighbors. It's a new neighborhood for me. Who do you like and who you do not like? So he said, the family of so-and-so and the family of so-and-so of my neighbors are righteous and practicing people. I like them to come over and we would like to go and visit them. But the family of so-and-so and the family of so-and-so are not good people. I don't want them to set foot in my house. He said, after that, for 20 years, we had never, ever had a fight or disputed over anything except once. And I was the aggressor. Abu Shareef is saying, I was the aggressor. So setting the foundation in a marriage, having this kind of communication, it helps the marriage a lot. If I flare up, my wife takes it easy and waits until I'm calmed down. If she flares, I'm going to punch her in the nose. This is not right.
That's what usually happens.
Yes, it has to be mutual. You know, there has to be compromise. There has to be an understanding of the different psychological personalities. And this adds a lot of value.
What actually I meant, that knowing each other, this will not happen overnight, but by experience over the years, okay, of knowing each other, you reach that level where you understand each other. You understand each other, even before talking. That not that you know the unseen, but it is just, subhanallah, or telepathy, whatever. Okay?
No, I think you know
each other from experience. Okay, you know that this upsets him, this upsets her, etc. But also at the same time, we men in particular, we are from Venus. So we are actually sometimes, we are not that observant. For example, maybe what will upset her, she dressed up and she, mashallah, and you step in and you came in and everything is normal. Say, have you noticed anything? No.
Yeah, the trash is full over there.
Subhanallah. No. Really? That kills her. Because, but the sisters, they have to understand this. We are not like a woman by nature. She's so observant. For example, you go with your wife and you visit people, and then when you come out, she'll give you a full report about the room. Huh? Have you seen that vase in the corner? And I didn't notice that. But this is their nature. We're not like that. But we have to learn, actually. We have to learn. For example, you come in and you see she changed the furniture and she's expecting you to say, wow, what is this? Jazakallah khair, mashallah. So the sister, they have also to understand the man's mentality, how the man's think.
Just quickly though, let's be honest and realistic. Does that apply across the board? Because one of the expressions you hear often is a man telling his wife or a wife telling her husband, we've been married for 20 years and you still don't understand this issue? Or shouldn't you have figured out by now that I don't like this and we've been married for such and such years? I mean, that happens often. So how is it that all these years have gone by and yet there's still some...
just to bring up the issue of communication,
conflict.
I think we're simplifying it a little bit too much. And if you go back to that analogy, Mars and Venus and stuff like that, we're speaking a different language. So even if somebody says they understand, it's still a different language. So for example, let's suppose a wife, she interprets love by the husband helping in the house. And he interprets life, why don't you hold my hand and give me a kiss and say, you know, you're the best and so on. So they have different ways of talking. So she's saying you still don't understand. No, he might understand, but that's not the way he expresses love. I have a technique, and that is that you know, if you've ever gotten a gift from somebody, and then you got the gift and you said to yourself, what is this? What kind of gift is this? This isn't a gift. You have to remember that the person who gave the gift, this is their way of expressing love. So what I do is I reciprocate a gift back like that. So for example, let's suppose my mom, she likes kahk. And she says, Muhammad, I give you, you know, kahk is like a
cake, a small
Egyptian
donut
type of cake, right? And it's not the best cake, but my mom loves it. So she's like, I brought you, I went to Egypt, I came back, here's a gift of kahk. And so then I would, for example, go to a bakery, and when I visit my mom and I say, hey, you know what, I got you these powder sugary cookies. I'd never do something like that. but I know that's how she interprets love. And you always have to, I think the key word here, not communication, empathy. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the other person and come from their perspective, and now you understand. And that's how the communication happens. Allah.
But you don't think, Sheikh Mohammed, that men and women do think differently?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Like, not only do they think differently, I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created man and woman that it's opposites that will always be challenged. You can never reconcile it. Like, there's always going to be that challenge.
The disparity has to be there.
Yeah, but that's, you can say that gives you the spice of the marriage.
They say opposites attract.
I don't know about that.
They complement.
ليس الذكر كالأنثى. Male is unlike the female. We often forget about that. It's like the man wants his wife to be his buddy, and she wants him to be like her, her fellow friend. And there's this barrier of gender, and then the psyche of the man versus the psyche of the woman.
I just wanted to give an example and leave the floor, right? I was once with my daughter, and we were in a hotel, and they had a play area. In this moment, my daughter taught me something very, very deep and valuable about women. And it crashed my brain what she did. She was a little girl, maybe 3 years old. We played with the toys, and after we played with all the toys, it was a big room, and then I took her by the hand and I said, let's race to the other side. Okay? Now this is what she did. She said, no, Baba, wait. And she stopped, and she ran by herself to the other side. And so now I'm confused. She said, Baba, and when she got to the other side, she said, Baba, I will run to you and give you a hug. And so in my brain, I'm like, then who will win? If this is the case. So I'm coming from man's perspective of it's always about competition.
Yes.
And she's coming from the perspective of, no, it's not somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. We can do this out of love, and we can both.
I believe that the problem with men and women, that as Sheikh Mohammed said, they don't understand each other. See, when women sit together, they chit-chat. My husband did this, my husband did that, my kids did this happened in the house, my mother-in-law. Like the hadith of Zara, where Aisha radiallahu anha sat with the Prophet, and this is one of the things that increases the love tremendously, that you listen to your spouse. The Prophet ﷺ sat there for about half an hour, at least that it takes you the time to read the hadith about these 10 women discussing their husbands. And each word needs a dictionary to go through. And the Prophet sat there not commenting. Until the very end, he said, I'll be to you like Abu Zar' was to Zar', though I do not divorce. In meaning, in the love and the affection. Now, I was putting myself in the Prophet's shoes, alayhi salatu salam. Man, I'm not going to sit there and listen to my wife. Women love to talk. Men do not love to talk. And that is why when they sit with the boys and the hood, they talk about cars, they talk about stocks, they talk about jobs, they talk about
technology.